Good day everybody, iSleep here, and today we'll be covering the balance changes of Season 8 2024 and their effects on the game. Starting off with the LMG buffs, all LMGs excluding the Hades, PKM and MG42 will receive a reduction to their hit flinch. This will make them much more consistent for mid to long ranges, as your aim won't kick up quite as much when taking fire. This is especially important on LMGs, as due to the slower handling, you would usually be pre-aiming and holding angles with them. Also prior to this update, LMGs for some reason had higher flinch than most assault rifles, which didn't quite make much sense. Additionally, the Bruen will receive an increase to its hit damage multiplier, going from 1.2 times to 1.35 times. This gives it the potential to 3-tap in the initial range with just a single headshot. This is a welcome change, although getting headshots is somewhat inconsistent, so it remains as an off-meta pick. The Groza's maximum ADS bullet spread will be reduced from 23 to 20, bringing it from below average bullet spread accuracy to average bullet spread accuracy for assault rifles. This in theory should improve its accuracy at mid-range, but given that it still has that rough recoil pattern, using it at longer ranges would still be very awkward. The Cordite's ADS time will be reduced by 20 milliseconds, bringing it in line with other CQC SMGs such as the QQ9, which is quite impressive for a flex SMG, especially with its mag size. The ADS time penalty of the OWC foregrip will be reduced from 14% to 10%, which is roughly a difference of 8 milliseconds. Now this is not a significant difference, and because it still hurts mobility quite a bit, it's not going to be a viable attachment anytime soon. The horizontal recoil penalty of the EM2's Task Force barrel will be reduced from 30% to 15%. This makes it a more viable option, as the recoil will be much easier to control, allowing it to better compete with the other 3-tap ARs like the DRH and HVK at mid to long range. The Oden is getting a minor adjustment, with its initial range going down from 18 meters to 16 meters. But in exchange, the Colossus Suppressor's ADS time penalty will be reduced from 42 milliseconds to 32 milliseconds, and the Mono Suppressor's BSA penalty will be completely removed, making it a decent alternative to the Colossus Suppressor if you want a faster strafe speed. Even with these changes, the Oden will still be a meta flex AR, due to its top tier time to kill potential. The Switchblade X9 is receiving an improvement to its base movement speed up to 5.16 meters per second. Note that this buff will also indirectly improve its strafe speed, making it one of the fastest SMGs in the game in terms of base mobility. Its initial BSA will also be improved from 22 to 13, allowing it to take mid-range fights more effectively. The fast reload mag now provides mobility buffs, improving the weapon's movement speed by 2% and strafe speed by 6%. This, combined with the weapon's already improved base mobility, means that you can build this gun to have phenomenal movement speed and strafe speed. However, being limited to only 26 rounds is still a massive issue, which prevents it from being a viable alternative compared to the regular extended mag. The most interesting buff of this season would go to the QQ9, more specifically to its 10mm ammo conversion. It will now do an additional 20% extra damage to the lower arms compared to the previous 10%. This makes a potential 3-shot kill much more consistent, allowing you to reliably achieve a time to kill of 158 milliseconds, the fastest of all the fully automatic SMGs. With this buff, we can expect the QQ9 to become a top-tier option, potentially replacing the Fennec and the CX9 as the go-to close-quarters SMGs. The maximum hipfire spread of the LAPA will be reduced from 200 to 170. This is a relatively minor buff, because the optimal build for this weapon does require you to sacrifice hipfire. The Thunder rounds of the HS-0405 will now do an additional 10% extra damage. This makes getting one-shot kills in both multiplayer and Battle Royale more consistent overall. Now moving on to the equipment, the Thermite's duration will be increased from 4 seconds to 5 seconds, allowing it to better compete with the Molotov, which is one of the most commonly used lethals in respawns. It will also now do more damage against vehicles, making it a better option in ground war. The Flash drone's effective radius will be increased from 15 meters to 18 meters, and its flight speed will be increased. This makes it a more reliable option as an entry tool, especially in Search and Destroy. The recharge speed of the Shadow Blade has been improved, allowing you to use it more frequently. Now this is a welcome buff, but given the lack of range utility that this operator skill provides, it will still be outclassed by the more versatile options such as the Equalizer, the Profile, and the newly buffed Death Machine. Speaking of which, the Death Machine will now provide the user with a 10% damage resistance throughout its duration. This makes it a direct competitor to the Equalizers, with the Equalizers having better mobility and handling, while the Death Machine having better damage and effective range. Now moving on to the Battle Royale exclusive changes, the pump's fuel capacity will be increased, making it a more reliable option as an escape tool and for players who like to play around heights. The Airborne's recharge speed will be increased, allowing you to reposition around the map more frequently. And finally, the Revived Drone's radius will be increased, but it will still be the worst class to use in Battle Royale, as its utility is only useful when your teammates are down, when you can and should be using any other class that will directly help you in the gunfight, preventing your teammate from being down in the first place. And that wraps up all of the balance changes that happened in Season 8 2024. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been iSleep, going dark.